Decades, South Mississippi's seafood industry has been a major driver of our coastal economy, but today there's no denying that the industry may be in some murky waters. Last week we heard from industry professionals who were working during seafood's peak here on the coast, but in the years since, fishers and shrimpers have seen obstacle after obstacle. Leslie Rojas joins us in the studio with a closer look.
That's right, Jennifer. Last week I spoke to a lot of people who remembered what it was like when seafood was at its prime. Tonight we're looking at the events that carried the industry from the golden age on the coast to where it stands today.
Then came the extraordinarily powerful and deadly storm that will never be forgotten, Hurricane Katrina. The pictures alone tell the story, showing the effect Category 3 storm had on the Gulf Coast.
The opening of the Bonnie Carey historically has happened once every 5 or 6 years. This year it happened 2 times within a matter of 4 or 5 months.
Rise for these fishermen. After all, they've endured year after year of disappointing oyster seasons due to Hurricane Katrina.
It seems to me we could have contained that all well away from the shores of Louisiana and Mississippi.
August of 1998, Ben Posadas arrived from the Philippines to South Mississippi.
We were driving around Biloxi, Pascagoula, Ocean Springs, and testing all our seafood around here. I said, I think I like it here.
Intrigued by the seafood markets, which also reminded him of the Philippines, Posadas decided to make South Mississippi his new home.
February the following year, Mississippi State hired me as a contractor. And of course, the project that they hired me for was on fisheries and aquaculture.
For several decades, he has conducted research on the entire seafood industry.
Starting from commercial fishing, then seafood, the fish, the shellfish harvested by our fishermen goes into the processor for processing, or it's sold to wholesalers, or it's sold directly to consumers.
Based on his research, the industry in 1990 brought in around $350 million. In 2006, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration started taking over the research, and what they found was millions of dollars less.
So now, as you can see, the average is what? 309 million a year during the last 5 years.
So what happened along the way? How does the thriving industry lose money?
I used to see a lot of photos showing mounds and mounds of oyster shells. But now look at our landings of oysters. It's almost gone.
The opening of the Bonnie Carey, which allows floodwaters from the Mississippi River to flow into the Gulf of Mexico, nearly wiped out the oyster population. Department of Marine Resources Executive Director Joe Spraggins says this had a negative impact on seafood.
That has caused a lot of the environmental issues there because of bringing the influx of fresh water. The 2011, which was a massive amount of fresh water that was brought into us, that closed the season and did a lot of damage to a lot of the estuary. Then in 2019, the biggest ever, 129 days of it.
But the Bonnie Carey wasn't the only damaging factor. Hurricane Katrina and the Deepwater Horizon oil spill also left a negative mark.
A lot of the commercial fleet were destroyed, so as a result our fleet went down. And then in 2010, of course, the Deepwater Horizon closed a lot of our fishing activities, including restaurants, charter boats, and so on and so forth, for some for weeks, others for months.
A lot of things nature has given us and a lot of things we've given ourselves.
Commercial fisherman Captain Frank Parker, whose livelihood depends on seafood, saw the negative effects firsthand.
The oil spill did have some effects on our industry. The biggest effect that it had was it tarnished the reputation of our shrimp. You know, if anything, the reputation of our shrimp should be higher now because it's under a bigger microscope. More people are looking at it.
Along with Parker, Spraggins also believes people question the quality of seafood that comes out the Gulf.
2019, a lot of publicity went out that shouldn't have never left here, and one being the fact that the seafood was unsafe to eat. It was not. The only thing that was unsafe to eat was oysters, and they were dead, so you didn't have to worry about them.
The story doesn't end there. Next week, we take a closer look at where the seafood industry stands today and what could come next.